Coming up, a tale of two cars, the Hemi Cuda and the Hemi Challenger, on the American Muscle Car. There are some muscle cars that qualify as special. They made a statement either with their styling, their performance, or their unique ability to stop traffic and turn heads. These cars stand out among the other legends of the muscle era as symbols of what a car could be when taken to the extreme. In this case, even the name of the car was enough to stop you in your tracks. In the drive-in, at the drag strip, wherever you were, heads turned when you heard the word Hemi. The Hemi Cuda and its younger brother from Dodge, the Hemi Challenger, represented the absolute pinnacle of the power-to-weight pyramid. The Cuda started life as a Valiant. Between 1960 and 1970, it underwent a complete transformation, growing from a six-cylinder grocery getter to a sporty little compact car, to a sporty little pony car, to a fire-breathing awesome-mobile. In 1970, as the Cuda was graduating awesome cum laude from the Chrysler School of Big Engines and Little Cars, the Dodge Challenger was born. To the casual observer, the cars appeared identical. Nothing, however, was further from the truth. Like two fraternal twins separated at birth, the Cuda and Challenger had different upbringings, differed physically in many areas, and were aimed at different audiences. The Cuda, by virtue of its Valiant heritage, was brought into the market with a low buck image, which stayed with the car even after engine upgrades and styling changes throughout its lifetime. The Challenger entered the market as an upscale rich boy's toy. Dodge and Plymouth had some very different ideas about these cars. The Cuda and Challenger did share one very important component: Chrysler's 426 Hemi engine. With this power plant under the hood, their straight-line performance covered just about anything any other muscle-bound pony car wanted to throw down. And that is what makes legends. To tell the story of these cars, we need to tell three stories: how the Valiant turned into a supercar, why Dodge waited until 1970 to jump into the pony car market, and how an engine originally built in 1951 as a Luxo barge power plant became the mightiest name in horsepower. Stay with us, and when we come back, we'll tell you all about it on the American Muscle Car. Everybody knows what happened to the American car landscape in 1964. The Mustang. It was the largest, most successful single product introduction in history. Over 440,000 Mustangs were sold in just 6 months, creating a market segment which still lives on today. You might think a market trend of this magnitude might have been seen by everyone, but it wasn't. In fact, besides Ford, no one saw it coming, except Plymouth.
64, the Barracuda was the other pony car. It did okay, selling 23,000 units, but it was nothing compared to the Mustang sales of almost 500,000. But there was very little else in Detroit that year that did get any attention.
Like the Mustang, the 64 Barracuda had a ready-made platform. As the Mustang used the Falcon underpinnings, the Barracuda would be built up from the Plymouth Valiant. First-generation Barracudas were in effect Valiants with a sporty body, a few interior upgrades, and the largest single piece of auto glass ever made for a rear window. The early Barracudas were great race cars in the hands of drivers like Bob Riggle and Ronnie Sox. The second generation Barracudas from 67 to 69 were completely new from the ground up and no longer borrowed anything from the Valiant. By now, Chrysler had tired of its little pony car being the slowest one of the bunch. The 273 was replaced with the 340 small block V8 and the 383 big block. But this was the muscle car era, and somewhere within Plymouth, somebody said it isn't enough. So by April 1969, a few Barracudas began terrorizing the streets with a 440 cubic inch wedge engine.
The 440 really marked the Barracuda's transformation from a European influenced car to a Detroit muscle car. But the engine was such a tight fit in the bay, you could not get air conditioning, power steering, or power brakes. Can you imagine trying to parallel park one of these things with that big 440 sitting over those wheels?
The third stage of the Cuda, which was now its given name, came in 1970. The 70 was clearly the best one yet.
The one challenge, all of a sudden one day we woke up and realized that muscle cars don't exist anymore.
Anytime a car guy goes past a junkyard, he sees something that's a possibility, his heart will start racing and he'll get excited and he'll see what light could be at the end of the tunnel with that project. We would obviously like to see cars restored instead of crushed.
Thanks to the restorers, there are a few of these magnificent beasts still around for us to appreciate. One look at them recalls a time when high-octane fuel was plentiful, the drive-ins were full of people, and the nights were just fine for a little cruising. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again on the next issue of the American Muscle Car. Until then, please remember, don't crush them, restore them.